Happy Valentine's Day, and welcome to the second Reels with Reed. In this reel, we're going to be going over pallet racking, the items that make it up, and how to put a bay together at the end. First item we'll go over is the upright. The uprights we stock, and the most common one, is called a teardrop roll form upright. You can tell if rack's teardrop by the way it's punched in the face, and the punching actually looks like a teardrop. The most common size for an upright is 42 inches deep. You get your upright size based on the pallet or the load that you're putting on it. The second item for pallet racking would be the beams. We stock a lot of different sizes of beams, 48 inches, 96, 108, 110, and 144 would be your most common size beams. They come in a variety of capacities. Again, the higher height of the beam, the more capacity it is generally. So the thinner the beam, less capacity. The last item that kind of goes into a normal pallet rack bay would be a wire deck. For example here, these are called waterfall wire decks. You can see as they sit on the beam, the fronts overhang the front and the back. The channels underneath sit in the steps of a pallet rack beam, and it gives you the support. The wire decks are not meant to take the weight of the pallet. That is, it's just a safety factor. So if a pallet's not loaded on there correctly or all the way onto each front and back beam, it'll keep it from falling through. As you can see, we have a whole bunch of wire decks in stock. We don't have any on our beams. We like to live dangerously. But the most common wire deck size is it matches the depth. We'll want to match your upright depth. So if you have 42-inch deep uprights, you order 42-inch deep wire decks. And then for like an 8-foot beam, it's a 42, 46 wire deck, and so on and so forth. If you just call in or email us and let us know what size beams you have, we'll get you the right size wire decks to fit those beams. I think that covers your basics for pallet racking, your uprights, beams, wire decks. And then we'll go on to throwing a quick bay together. It's always easier instead of trying to do it yourself to have a buddy system. So, buddy one, we have Al over here. So the first thing you do when you stand up your first upright, there's always a bottom horizontal brace that's diagonal. You want this horizontal brace to be pointing out down towards your aisle. So the tip of the triangle, you can see the horizontal brace. You want it going up in the back and then sliding down to the front, out to your aisle. So you know, have somebody hold the first upright in place, and then you're going to want a second buddy, Tim. He's going to grab the second upright, and you're going to want to position that upright. So if you have like an 8-foot beam, like we do here, you're going to position it about 8 feet away from the first upright. And then you're going to take your beam. Here we have an 8-foot beam, for example, and you're going to start one upright. You're going to have your beam position marked, and you're going to put the end plate in, the first end, and you can go tap, and you're going to go down, you're going to match it up so it's level with the first end plate, it's going to snap right in. So then you have your base standing, you're going to come around to the front beam, you're going to do the same thing. On these beams, you have the step here, and that's where we talked about the wire decks. That's where the channel sits in, that gives your wire deck its strength. It sits right on there in the beam. Now we'll put in the front beam. Make sure you're lined up across from the back beam. Give it a little whack. Negotiate it into place if need be. And you have your base standing. The next step would be put in your wire decks. The channels fit right inside the steps. And the waterfall we talked about earlier goes over the front and the back of the beam. And then you're going to have a little bit of play. The wire decks don't cover it entirely. You have about an inch or two on each end for flue space. Your final step will be to anchor your pallet racking. You'll need a hammer drill. Most of the time it's going to be a 1/2 inch anchor that will go into the foot plate. So there's 2 holes normally for your foot on the foot plate. If you do the left, it doesn't matter which one, you need to hit 1 anchor per foot plate. So you're going to have 1 anchor in the front, 1 anchor in the back. If you pick the left front hole on this front foot plate, then you're going to want to anchor in the back, the right hole in the back foot plate. So now you're going to take your hammer drill. You're going to drill your first hole, shop back it out, and then you're going to drop your 1/2 inch anchor into the front hole, hammer it down, and then repeat it for the opposite hole on the back foot plate. So again, each upright takes 2 anchors, 1 in the front, 1 in the back, and have it in the opposite hole from front to back. And after you do that, you have your bay rack all set up, ready to load it with your pallets and material. Thanks for tuning in to the second Reels with Reed. And on this Valentine's Day, you can come to Adams and get the rack you want.